Welcome everyone to the first ever inaugural episode of Three Men and a Breakdown. Long time coming. I was gonna try to come up with some catchy tagline but I just
it probably
everything
won't happen.
I came up with sounded forced, and I just didn't vibe well with it. So, the three lovely gentlemen that you either see on your screen or listening to, gracing your ear holes, are all a part of this thing we call a podcast. My name is Jared. To my middle, his name is. You don't know who's in my middle. It's Brandon.
Oh, it's me. Hi, it's Brandon. What's going on? You know me from all.
Wait, how is Brandon in your middle?
Yeah, we're in a triangle.
I
dog.
am in my middle.
Yeah.
I think we're all looking at different things.
Well,
It's
you
okay.
might be.
We're gonna work,
Yeah,
we're gonna
it's
work
okay.
it out.
But now I need to know how you got yours to do that.
I'm looking at you guys left to right in a straight
Oh,
line.
he's got it in a straight line. He's not on the full
you got
screen.
a big panorama mug? Oh, full screen. There we go. I'm
he's
Daryl, by the way. Hello. Hello,
Yeah.
we are Three Men and a Breakdown.
We are.
Excited. This came together with about 8 minutes of planning. No, it came together seriously with about
10 minutes
probably
of planning.
close to a month. Yeah, about a month of planning. A couple of times we thought we were gonna hit go, and then we kind of took a step back and really
to
tried
be fair,
to make...
Jared thought this was a joke when I asked him in the DMs. He was like, "Are you serious?"
So, yeah, I hopped on a couple of reactions prior to this, but what I want to do is let's talk about first of all, what's this going to be? Why are these three assholes in front of you worthy of listening to for an hour every couple of weeks?
Yeah, every couple.
I don't know that we're actually worthy. It's we like each other.
Yeah,
well, it's all subjective in the end, right?
We all like to talk about the same things, and we're going to talk about them here. Plain and simple.
For those of you that don't know, Brandon does have a brand that he's spent the better part of a decade building called Audio Addiction Media.
Brandon, yeah.
I said Brandon.
I know.
Did I say
well,
myself?
I said no.
Oh.
I was just, you said building a brand, and then I just decided to emphasize.
Oh, building a brand.
Brandon is Brandon.
And we're right out of the gate with the dad jokes. All right,
man.
So,
you just set it straight up for me, man. What was I gonna do?
I threw you a lob and you knocked it out of the park. Brandon, your beloved host of Audio Addiction.
I am.
This all came together about probably a month or so ago, where we all, Daryl, myself, and Brandon was humble enough to have us on his show, and we did an album react to Better Lovers EP.
Woo.
And shortly after that, we thought, what the hell? We're awesome. Let's make a podcast. So
no, actually, you threw it up. You threw it up as like, hey, we should just do a podcast. And then I was like, yeah, let's do it. And Daryl was also like, yeah, let's do it. And then we just sat on it for like a day. And then I was like, does Jared think I was actually telling the truth or not? And then so I messaged him and I said, hey, do you actually want to do this podcast thing? And he was like, oh, I thought it was a joke, man. And I was like, no?
Yeah,
no,
welcome to
absolutely.
Two Truths and a Lie, the name of this podcast now. Just kidding.
Too late.
Anyway,
Bro.
So
I'll bring the receipts, all
we're
right?
going to be talking. We're all passionate about the same thing. All of us have backgrounds as musicians. We love all things music. However, we are all passionate about extremely passionate about a subset or a subset of genres we like to call
J-pop.
deathcore.
Damn it.
Just kidding. Metal. I was trying to think of I was going to say dubstep. That was what I was.
That would have been
Didn't
good.
come to me in time. So we thought, go around the room, talk about how we all met. I'd like Brandon to kind of start to talk about why what prompted you to start Audio Addiction? What prompted you to be serious enough to really want to do a podcast with us? Start at the top.
Yeah, sure. So, no, it's all right, Jared. You can talk all you want. This is what a podcast is for. It's for talking. You open your mouth and you say things, and that's what happens.
Into my lovely new microphone. All right, take it away,
Yeah,
Brandon.
exactly. So I started Audio Diction like 7.5 years ago. That was in my like senior year of college. And I was like, as most people do when they go to college, they're like, what am I going to do with my life? So I was like getting my degree in marketing. And so I was just like, oh, I really love music. The scene's always been an important aspect of my life. I'd been going to shows all throughout college. And like whenever I was able to drive, I basically went to shows. And so I was like, oh, well, I don't really see anybody doing interviews other than like, you know, shout outs to cringe lord Brian Stars. I only saw him doing, you know, interviews, and I was like, well, if this guy can do it, certainly anyone can do it. So I was like, let me just start. So I basically just started a YouTube channel. I had one of my buddies like make up like a really terrible logo. No offense to him. We just had no graphic art skills whatsoever between the two of us. So we made a very terrible logo, and I just started buying like computer gear, all that sort of stuff. And then I graduated college, and I was working like my normal day job, and I was like, oh, I should probably still do this. So then originally, Audio Diction was actually supposed to be a podcast before podcasts were a thing, and it just never took off. And actually, the members that were original just either had other YouTube channels they were doing or other projects they were doing, and just wasn't as invested as I was. And we all like parted ways, and we're all still homies. Shout out to my buddy Nick. He's one of my best friends as well, so I still talk to him on a daily. But he was the only one who really wanted to do stuff, but just didn't have the time to commit to it. And I was like, oh, well, I should just continue doing it. Like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to try it for the next year, see what happens. And I haven't stopped ever since, pretty much. And that's kind of how I had met both you and Daryl, which is insane. And now we're doing a podcast together.
Yeah.
The way
all I heard
I know
there was, all I heard there was that you're a nerd and you like music.
I am, yeah. About most things. I am a nerd. Thank you for pointing that out.
By the way, I just want to let everyone know that we're all a little nerdy about this thing that we're doing here.
We are.
nerdy
Yeah,
and
you're right.
nutty.
Nerdy and
Brandon, I actually I met you. I told this story privately, but
oh,
the
you're
big
gonna
people.
you're gonna pull it out of the vault, the Disney vault.
so I started a project 8 years ago now called Across Oceans.
Woo!
Shameless plug. And it's a 2-piece side project with me and my friend Damien. And
Shout
around
outs.
2017, I moved to Austin, Texas, where unbeknownst to me, Daryl was on the other side of town.
Uncanny.
Never met before this.
Uncanny, yeah.
So
Lived there
one
at the
day,
same
one day I get a message from a guy I don't know, and it's like, "Hey man, like I'm in the middle of recording an acoustic EP in my living room, nights after work, and I get a message like, "Hey man, my buddy introduced or told me that I should check you guys out. How would you like to be how would you like to be interviewed?" And I immediately messaged Damien like, "Holy shit, we've made it!" Like, I don't know how. I haven't done anything. But we're gonna be interviewed by this guy who is like the owner of a YouTube channel. So I hopped on, and I remember very vividly. Damien couldn't, and
He
so it
couldn't
was
go,
just
yeah.
me and a giant glass of Jameson. And so not much has changed. I had no idea what I was doing. Still don't. That's the beauty of this whole thing. And I didn't know that would be the start of what I hope is a lifelong
Of course.
friendship. And so it's been 6 years. As actually 6 years ago to the day, as we
What?
record this,
I did not
Cross
know that.
Oceans released
August
their first single
Wow.
ever as a band. So
1st. That's a sign.
Kudos. Congrats, Jared.
It's crazy that we lived in Austin in the same time and have so many similar interests, and
And never cross paths.
well,
I'm just convinced.
Austin
I'm
has a
convinced I
thriving
saw you at a
music
show.
scene.
I'm convinced I saw you at a show.
It
at
had
some
to have
point.
happened
Yeah.
at some point. I mean, I went to my fair share of shows when I lived in Austin. But
Daryl, how'd you meet Brandon?
That's similar to you. Had music out with the Ansible, and I can't quite remember how we got
we
in
couldn't
touch.
pinpoint it. I think
Yeah,
it's
I don't know
Reddit.
if it was. I don't know. I like because it maybe if like Greg had posted or something like maybe did you find out through Reddit about us? Is
It
that what you're
could
saying?
have been because I remember in my early days of like trying to find bands to get on the show. I remember I just like scoured like r/metalcore or r/post-hardcore on Reddit, and
that's a blessing and a curse.
it's a blessing. Well, it was a different era back then, but yeah, I remember I made a couple posts saying like, "Are you an unsigned band? Would love to have you on my YouTube channel. Like, please, either message like in this thread or like DM me on Reddit or on like Instagram or whatever." And I got some people actually, funnily enough, this week. Well, the week we're recording this, I'm posting an interview with Andy of the band Clarity, and he was the first interview I'd ever done on YouTube. He was the first person I've ever interviewed.
Circle.
I've interviewed him a couple of times now at this point, but he's like OG. He's like the OG of the OGs. So I always have, no matter what they're put out, I'm always going to have Andy on. I feel like he is going to be like my ride or die, So I have a lot of love for Andy. Credible band, go check them out. But yeah,
Clarity.
Yeah, they're very sick. Clarity JP on Instagram. They're from Japan.
But yeah, we did an interview.
That was great.
We had a great time, but my internet kept dropping out.
Oh,
like the modem just kept dying, and it never I have no idea why it was so bad. It was never like that, but for whatever reason, us trying to talk through what were we? I don't know, Zoom or Facebook Messenger or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I think it was Facebook Messenger or something like that. I don't remember or Skype. Honestly, I feel like it might have been Skype.
Maybe it was Skype.
Yeah, Skype's a throwback.
We've since upgraded to Discord, but that was the core because that was what, like 6-7 years ago.
That was like 7 years ago. Yeah, I think you and Jared are pretty early adopters, I'd argue.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is ironic considering you guys were like, in terms of timeline, I imagine you guys, in terms of interview timeline, you guys weren't too far off in the schedule. And I just think it's ironic, full circle, that you guys also lived very close to each other. So I just thought it would be hilarious that like Daryl would have watched Jared's interview and vice versa possibly, and they would have just been like, "Oh, Austin, that's sick. You guys are so close. I'll probably wind up seeing this dude or something," and then it just never happened.
Never happened. I was kind of a bit of a hermit crab back then, so I've since come out of my shell, as you can tell. But I'm still in Texas. Gosh. Brandon, you are in?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
And Daryl's in West Virginia. No.
Yeah, I'll be there next month.
West Virginia. Yeah,
I live in South Carolina. I ended up moving back here whenever the pandemic shut everything down.
It's always a good reason to move.
Well,
there's a lot of other reasons.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm okay. 3 years later, I'm totally fine. I swear.
Everything's big in Texas. All right.
Excuse me while I medicate.
Talking about our favorite kind of music, metal music. I thought I want to tell you guys, which I haven't told you this yet, how I got into metal.
Ooh. Okay.
Ooh, yeah. Early bands are always a good story.
So I grew up Southern California. My dad's very big 80s hair band metalhead. He grew up doing all kinds of like charity, like for charity metal shows. There's a one out in Long Beach that is still going on today that they do really good work called Metal Jam. Basically, a bunch of volunteer guys get together. They raise a bunch of money for autism research. And they play a live show at a bar, and it's like you get to pick. It's like all covers of old 80s, 90s metal songs. And And so I grew up in that, but it wasn't this traditional style of metal, right? So one day, like I know Ozzy, I know, Metallica. I'm growing up on all the classics, and then one day I don't know if you guys remember those like music choice channels that were like on part of your
Yes.
dish packages.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
One day I turn the TV on. I'm like 9 or 10 years old, and I hear a Hatebreed song for the first time. And my initial reaction is not like, oh, I like this. My initial reaction is, oh my god, this is terrifying. I can never hear this again. Um, and then one day, like out of nowhere, a couple years later, I come home from school. I'm walking home from school, walk in the door. My dad is listening to Demon Hunter on. He's listening to Demon Hunter on his computer
Wow.
speakers, and he's like, "Isn't this super cool?" And I'm like, what? Have you lost your fucking mind? What is going on right now?" And I was not into it then, right? This was like '03 or '04.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
I was
Use
still
your
not
age.
into it then.
That put me in a different place.
I was 10. I was 9 or 10. Yeah, I would have been
okay.
about 9 or 10. Anyway, so I still was like, this is weird, but my dad listened to it, so we listened to it a lot. And then by like that Christmas, he bought me a Demon Hunter, like the Summer of Darkness CD. And
Sick.
then it took me a couple of years. I think it was like '06. I started getting into like As I Lay Dying, As Blood Runs Black. But even As Blood Runs Black was a little bit too crazy for me at the time. But dude, by like '08, I went to my first ever real metal show. I saw a band called Chimera and opening for All That Remains
Oof.
at the House of Blues in Anaheim, and that was
was
the
a good
first
tour.
time. It was a fantastic show. Never met anything, never saw anything like that. Like, you really got a sense of like for lack of a better word, like the brotherhood that at a show, you fall down, people pick you up.
Yeah.
Was like all 80 pounds of me. This guy walked up. He's like, "You want to crowd surf, man? It's your first show." And I'm like, "No, I have no interest in any of this." And to this day, I've never crowd surfed. To this day, I've never crowd surfed. But
Oh, you haven't truly
yeah,
lived.
man, I have
Dude,
not truly
it's
lived.
hit or miss, and I mean that
Especially
quite literally.
Literally, I was gonna say. Daryl, you want to
Brendan,
go?
how did you? Oh, go
Oh.
ahead, Daryl.
I feel like I passed it off to
No,
Daryl.
I
I don't know
mean-
anything about him.
So
Just on a podcast.
it's funny. That's why I asked your age, because 2003. I'm a little older than these guys, so I was 17. So I was at that point, I had already gotten into a lot of underground music.
Hey, yo.
But for me, it started out with a lot of like grunge and new metal. Like I wasn't a huge fan of Nirvana. I appreciate Nirvana. Don't nobody get in here and tell me I'm a shithead for that. But like I was a big Soundgarden fan, and I liked Alice in Chains, and like that. Those bands kind of skirt the metal line. And then I had this friend Tim in like 6th grade, and he showed me Korn and Rob Zombie.
Oh,
And like jamming out to like Dragula and stuff, like, and I was like, this is cool. And then Linkin Park Hybrid Theory came out, and
Oh, yeah.
still one of my
Oh,
top
yeah.
5 albums. But then a friend of mine started taking me to local shows, like pop punk shows and hardcore shows. And then I went and saw heavier shows. I got addicted to it, so I started
Yeah.
going, and there was a local band called the Classic Struggle, fantastic metalcore band with a lot of really weird stories. But I met kids in the scene, and this guy gave me Between the Buried and Me Silent Circus. He burned me a copy of it, and I had a Walkman. Like, these were burn CDs. So for those of you that don't know, that's when you put your music on this disc. I'm not trying to be ageist. I'm just saying.
it's true though.
It was like a really big flash drive that you couldn't really conveniently fit in your pocket unless you
It's
wore
like a
cargo pants,
playlist.
which that's why people wore cargo pants, in case you were wondering. Um, but I like had this desk in my room, and I would sit there and listen to music and do my homework. And I had worn that Hybrid Theory CD out. Like, it skipped like a motherfucker. Every song had like 3 or 4 skips, and I even knew where they were because it happened so often. But he gave me that CD, and I listened to it so much in a week that it was destroyed. Like, it wouldn't even play anything. But I was hooked. And so I started seeking out heavier bands, and I got into things like Poison the Well, still one of my top favorite bands. Strangely enough, I got into like Deftones around the same time. Like, I somehow missed them when I was on my new metal train. But yeah, then it progressed from there, and then things got crazy, and I started hearing like brutal death metal and tech death, and then crazy power metal and stuff like that. I live with a dude who is what I would describe as a musicologist. Like, he had the iTunes folder
Library.
thousands of bands that he would rip off the internet. It was insane, and he would just burn you whatever you wanted. Like, I think you'll like this, and he'd hand me a CD. I learned so much music in that time frame because of him.
There we
Hell
go.
yeah.
But then it all spiraled. I started playing music, and
now you're here
doing a podcast.
All roads lead to a podcast. I think that's what it's come down to.
Unfortunately for the people, that's true.
Yeah. For me, I guess metal music wasn't the first genre I got into. My parents are very much into like classic rock music. So I got into like, Bon Jovi, Boston, Kansas, Styx, all that sort of stuff. So that was kind of that was like all my introduction into rock music. And then like my dad loved Kiss and all this other stuff. So like, we traversed the abyss a little bit. And then one of my dad's old workers was like that stereotypical like hair metal guy, long blonde hair, cut off like white shirt, the sleeves cut off the shirt, cut jeans, all that sort of stuff. And so he would play a lot of like Guns N' Roses, Iron Maiden, all that sort of stuff. So that was kind of like my first introduction to like metal music per se. And then I grew up pretty religious, so my parents would only allow me to listen to certain things. So bands that got me into more of the scene bands that I listen to now, and I still do listen to all of these bands for the most part. Under Oath, Before Their Eyes, who else? Devil Wears Prada, just like anyone that was in that like Christian core scene of music.
For today.
That's for today. Like all of those bands I really listen to. Memphis Mayfire, like all of the OG like metalcore, like Christian core kind of stuff. Some other obscure ones like Ivory Lion is like a really sick one that I don't think a lot of people mention, but I still think they rip. Even though they're more like rock, I guess, per se. But yeah, I kind of got into all that sort of stuff. And then once I kind of broke away from the religious tendencies, then I started listening to like other bands, like as you mentioned, As I Lay Dying. I got into like Linkin Park. I'm trying to think who else I was really listening to, like a Breaking Benjamin.
I definitely listened to a lot of the scene bands.
Sure, yeah.
All the scene bands from that time too, yeah.
Yeah, like Breaking Benjamin.
You said As Blood Runs Black. Like I loved that band when they were around.
Oh, they're sick too. Dude. I love that. But yeah, I kind of got into that sort of stuff, and then wind up migrating into like heavier music over time, obviously, and now I just listen to pretty much everything except for country music. Can't stand that shit. No offense.
Yeah, well, I dig some of the newer era outlaw country musicians.
Yeah, Brandon, I know you're shaking your head no, but that stuff, like some outlaw country, especially, a lot of that stuff is in drop tuning on the guitar. And it's got a lot of
Okay.
roots.
Okay.
And
Okay.
yeah, dude,
It
it's
It's
got,
piqued
it's
my
like the
interest.
emo. It's like the emo music of country. Like it's
Yeah.
like
Okay.
folky emo music.
You're gonna have to
much.
give me an outlaw country artist to listen to.
I'll
Then.
send you. I got a good playlist
Look it up, dude.
that I jam out when
Look
I'm just
it
like,
up.
That brings us to our next point. We don't just listen to metal music. We all listen to everything.
Pretty much.
Oh,
pretty much.
absolutely. We're always
My,
like, I want people to send us bands and stuff because we're definitely going to discuss a lot of music on this channel.
It is 3 minutes
my
and a breakdown.
yeah, 3 men and a CD, according to Daryl, a burned CD.
Or for the kids that are watching, a Spotify playlist.
My playlist on any given day can go from, like you said, Devil Wears Prada to Lettuce to
Oh, lettuce!
oh,
Wow. All right. I was
yeah,
not
to,
expecting that one. That one's sick. I like
to,
that.
like Chase Coy, back to like Taylor Swift, and into like some Bone Thugs. Like, dude, I can get into anything pretty much as long
Okay,
as I
okay.
think there's substance there. It wasn't always the case. I think that out of the two of you, though, I maybe had that mentality towards country when I was younger. But I mean, dude, you don't live in Texas without hearing your fair share of
I was gonna
country.
say,
And
yeah.
for that reason, like I've kind of
What's
been
a
opened
what's a
up to it a little
Lettuce
bit.
song that I should start with? Because I've never heard Lettuce before.
So Lettuce is an instrumental funk band, and their album, it's not Elevate, it's a 2015 album that I started listening to. But dude, their whole
Crush.
catalog is so good. Yeah, Crush is the name of the album.
All right, I'm gonna start there.
Crush.
This will be my morning music tomorrow. Especially if it's
Lettuce.
instrumental funk, like I'm
You're gonna
about.
feel good.
Oh,
You're gonna feel
dude,
good.
it's good stuff. I didn't really get into that until my current boss likes a lot of instrumental music, but kind of, I started with more like Animals as Leaders, Intervals, Chon.
Yeah,
And I was like, hey, check this
Chon.
out.
All right,
So
yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, this is
It-
really good.
I need to watch. Have either of you watched The Thing? It's I think it's John Petrucci, Devin Townsend, and Tosin Abasi. They're like hanging out. I don't know. They shot like a little documentary or something of the
Oh,
sort.
was that
Only
Rick
that.
Beato? It was with Rick Beato.
I'm not sure. I just keep seeing previews for it everywhere, so I know I need to find it and watch it. Because
I'm pretty sure it's a Rick Beato
insane.
video.
Okay,
Shout out to Rick Beato, the GOAT.
Dude,
we'll talk about it on
My-
the next episode.
I just got a text from my dad. I mean, just totally random while we're talking about this. He said he just went to go watch a tribute band, a Queensryche tribute band, I think, at a Santa Fe swap meet in Cali. And he said this guy had a Stradivarius shirt on. That's sometimes space on that, but dude, power metal, when I was coming up, like Sonata Arctica, Stradivarius,
Ooh,
like
yeah,
that
Sonata
was
Arctica.
my
Oh yeah, man.
shit. Bro, when I tell you that, like, I was like ready to convert anyone, it was like with Bill Murray now, like anyone I meet, I'm like, you have to hear this. Back then it was like Stradivarius. I'm like, you've got to hear this amazing chromatic. Yeah, look at that. Oh,
I
Bill
was
Murray,
I was a huge Sonata Arctica fan.
dude.
I heard the Cage for the first time with that sick fucking guitar solo.
Yeah.
Just right there in the beginning, they just like smack you in the face with like an 80s rip note. Like, great. Power metal's awesome. I
Shout-outs,
feel
yeah.
like it's not standing the test of time the way that some other subgenres of metal are, but it's still
All
awesome.
the guys are so old now. I mean, damn, half these guys are in their 60s and 70s.
That's true, yeah.
They were prominent in the 80s and the 90s, but yeah, man, music as a whole, I think that we can all attest to the fact that our playlists are kind of all over the place, right? Can you guys remember what I think I kind of spoiled mine, but what's the first metal concert you guys went to?
I guess mine
man.
was that like, so I went to this like, again, this like Christian like festival, and it had Before Their Eyes, August Burns Red, Norma Jean, like all of the like big metalcore acts of that time. It was out in Frenchtown, New Jersey, which is not far. It's not too far away from where I grew up, but yeah, it was just basically a full festival full of like heavier, like more rock artists. So that was probably my first experience. Other than that, I can't really remember. I think that's probably got to be the first one that I can think of.
I went to. Gosh, I was really young, but I went with some kids from youth group. Some of them they had their band playing
Sick.
at a place at this. It was basically a house that turned record store, and they would hold shows. And my friend's band, they were called Free Refills, which coincidentally, there's another Free Refills that's like kind of popular. But a band called Ludacris was the opening band or
Oh
the
my
headlining
God.
band.
You saw Ludacris?
Ludacris, yeah.
Oh, Ludacris.
WTI, yeah.
Is that like the
and-
dollar store version of Ludacris?
No, it is what is now. God, now I can't remember.
Is it
I'll look it
like
up.
is it like when your parents say we have Ludacris at home and that's Ludacris?
Wow.
Yeah, something like that.
That's what I think of.
Oh, it is what is now Norma Jean.
What is that?
Oh. What's this? Can't just drop that bombshell on us. It's like, yeah, just this one band
it's
named
just a
Norma
small
Jean.
band. Norma Jean.
I was very young. I mean, I was like 12, but I went
That's
with like
okay.
youth group kids, and my parents worked all the time, so like that's how they made sure I had a babysitter.
Now, it's interesting. We all grew up in the Christian kind of household, the Christian scene. And
Yeah.
now that I'd like think
Oh,
about
yeah.
it deeper and deeper, I guess technically the first like rock-ish band I went and saw, a Skillet played like 2 nights in a row.
Yeah. Okay.
2 nights in a
Yeah.
row. Like this was like after Alien
Yeah.
Invasion or Alien Youth came out, pre-Collide. But like after Alien Youth came out, like they had like a show at like a Harvest Church, and then they had a show at the fairgrounds, like back-to-back nights. And I was like, we gotta go to both of them. They're both free. And I'm like,
Skillet,
okay. So,
baby.
dude, I was all
My-
about some Skillet.
I did see Jars of Clay.
Oh my
Holy shit.
God. Fuck.
They, in the summertime, like I got sent to anything that was like vacation, Bible study,
You're like
Youth
they're gonna eat
outreach,
you
like-
out. Yeah.
like any way they could get me out of town for a week. Well, so they could like work overtime. My parents did that shit. And I remember like I don't remember any of those things like just right out of my head, but I do remember seeing Jars of Clay, and they handed out candles for everyone to hold up as like a vigil.
What?
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
and Billy Graham spoke. That
Oh no.
that's how like Southern Baptist my family was.
There's
Oh,
people
no.
hearing this. Well, I mean, we're not anywhere
not in
near
that space,
close to
yeah.
that sphere. But there is somebody that heard this going, this guy saw Billy Graham and I didn't get to see him. Dude,
Yeah, who gives a
Oh.
shit? Fuck that guy.
that's
You're
wild. Look at us. Just look at us taking hard stances. The wine's flowing. The you guys.
It's a
No,
wine
we're
night.
off- we're
I'll
off
tell
and
you
running.
guys what happened after.
We're off and running. Well, all right.
Yeah, we are.
So
Oh,
We
no
all
one.
grew up
No, I don't think
similar.
anyone answered other than Jared. What's you said? Our music tastes have varied. So
yes.
Oh.
Sorry. Hijack moment.
steamrolled it. I guess I'll go since I'm the one bantering on here.
Let's do it as like top 5 bands.
Top
Oh,
5 bands.
Good luck. I asked Brandon this the other week, and he's like, "This is fucking impossible."
It is hard. I can't. Oh man.
All time.
All time.
All time.
Oh, you really
Not even
shot me in the
top 5 all
fucking
time.
foot right now. God. I hate
I'm
this.
kidding. Don't do that.
You told me
I
your
wouldn't
top
actually
one,
do
right?
that.
It was your top album? You're also your top band, Brandon?
What for this? He said of all time.
No. Of all time. Yeah, I thought I asked you.
Yeah,
for
it
all
would be
time, and you
Seosin.
mentioned
Yeah,
Seosin
Seosin
is your
It's
favorite
hard.
band of all time.
I
Yeah, oh,
have
yeah.
a lot of top albums that like, but I can't put them in any particular order.
Exactly.
you know,
That's what I'm
like,
saying. It's difficult.
I am an album listener, like for
Same.
sure. When
Yeah.
I don't like I'll do the singles if it's just a single that comes out. I'm listening to that, but I love
If
albums.
there's more.
And there's so many good ones, especially in metal, if I'm being honest.
Uh,
So you're just saying top 5 bands of all time. Is this what we're laying out now?
for your own
Sure.
personal. Yeah.
Okay. Seosin,
Ooh, yeah.
Tesseract.
Okay.
Wow, this is difficult. This is actually really hard.
Tesseract, good.
Tesseract is good. V good.
Super nice guys too.
Would Era
They
be
are.
on that list?
Oh man, I don't. Yeah, I feel like Air would probably be on that list.
Era's
Yeah.
a top tier band in my opinion.
I would also agree with that. I feel like I have to put ABR on there
Yeah.
because they're
yeah.
just. I mean, I got to be in one of their music videos, so I feel like I owe a lot to that. That's such a sick moment in my life. So I probably put them,
It's a beautiful thing.
and then
It's
I'll throw it back.
beautiful.
I'll put Boston as my 5th pick. I love it.
Wow.
Yeah, the
I love it.
self-titled.
Remember, we
that's-
said all time, right?
Yeah, I'm okay with that. That sounds like a great.
That
That
gotta
sounds like a
be,
great setup, honestly. Because I
So
feel like I
solid.
captured everything that I want. Maybe the only band that I'd swap out is Error for Bill Murray. That's the only one I'll swap out in my list.
Your top 5.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'll throw
High
Error out and
praise
put Bill
to the
Murray in there.
Johnny
Yeah,
Frank boy, dude.
it's more like a top 5-ish, you know.
5-ish. And it'll change tomorrow when we go back. And
it
think about
will. Oh my god, I'll be so
I
pissed off.
forgot.
Oh, I forgot this band.
It'll be
I
a
forgot
question.
the Allman Brothers.
It'll be a it'll
Listen,
be a
I don't
question that
expect
we
you.
can ask
Don't give
people
me
when we
shit
interview
for
'em.
picking Boston. All right, Jared.
I'm not.
They're a fucking
I'm not giving you
fantastic
shit.
band.
I'm stoked. I think
God tier.
my top 5. And this is hard, but
It is
I'm just gonna.
difficult.
I'm gonna mirror it. I'm gonna try to mirror it as close to my top 5 albums.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Respect.
with an exception for number 2, because my top 3 albums of all time. This is gonna sound ridiculous because the second one just came out a couple months ago, but my top 3 albums of all time.
I know what
So
it is.
Tesseract's Altered State, number 1, Forever and Always. Number 2, Take Me Back to Eden.
Wow.
Sleep Token. Number 3.
I'm not mad at it, but that's not my favorite Sleep Token album either.
Agreed. Yeah, same.
Number 3, Augment by Era.
Okay. Yeah.
number
that's a great
4,
album.
So good.
Handmade Cities by Pliny. Pliny is by far and away my favorite instrumental
Wow.
artist
Okay.
of
Respect. I love
guitarist
Pliny.
of all time. And then I don't really. I think the Translating the Name EP was so influential to me when I was like 10 years old from Seosin at 5. But my top 5 bands would probably be Tesseract, Era, Queensryche would be on the list for sure, just because I think he's the most underrated metal 80s
okay.
metal singer of all time, Jeff Tate.
I love it.
Probably. I'm just gonna go with what's on top of my brain right now: Devil Wears Prada and Silverstein. Those would be
Wow.
my top.
Silverstein's a
Solid
great pick too.
choices.
Yeah, I was gonna
Solid
say.
choice.
And Prada, of course.
Those are good choices. I agree with a lot of your choices. Sleep Token is my favorite band, and like they just scratch an itch. People want to know why. I can't tell you.
You have to experience it. You have to worship.
It encapsulates me when I listen to it. Like I've got some cool studio monitors that like I just sit up here and jam music and like game for a little bit or whatever, and like more often than not I do put Sleep Token on. As far as favorite albums though, Sundowning is my favorite album.
Yes. My guy.
But I've been listening to them since basically right when they started releasing Sundowning. But then
2019.
from there,
2019,
Poison the
yeah.
Well, and Between the Buried and Me are still both in my all times. As far as like my classic all time, it's Queen. They're the most versatile band you'll ever listen to.
Fair pick. I like it.
Honorable mention to Extreme because Porno Graffiti, if you haven't listened to that record, explains why there some of the late '90s and early thousands guitarists were the way they were.
The name of the band is Porno Graffiti.
Porno Graffiti.
Wow. What a name.
That's the album with More Than Words on it. It's like the one ballad where he like plays a classical acoustic guitar and the brothers just like sing in harmonious bliss. But the rest of the album's like raw early American thrash metal. And
Wait, are you talking about like the hit song "More Than Words" by the
By
band
Extreme?
More
Extreme?
Than Words is all you have to
Really?
do.
Wait.
Yeah.
So that's a cover by Extreme?
No,
covered?
it's not.
It's their
the band.
song.
It's the band Extreme off of the album Extreme 2 Porno Graffiti.
Right.
I never knew that before.
But that album is like a bunch of shreddy ass guitar work.
Wow. I didn't
God,
even know
what is
that.
his name? I know his name.
Nuno
but yeah,
Bencourt?
like, huh?
As in
Yes.
Nuno Bencourt?
Yes, that's it.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Insane, dude.
He's a great
And
guitar
that
player.
album is just fun to listen to if you want to like have a nostalgic moment from the early '90s when you were
Dude.
born.
Wow, my brain hurts now. That's sick.
Yeah, I gotta think of a few more bands. I've been listening to a lot of stuff lately. Murder by Death did a re-release of my favorite record, and so I jammed that today. I'm gonna jam Lettuce.
Oh, I'll rebuttal to Jared's question from earlier, which was since we listen to a bunch of different genres, I feel like I have to get my plugs out there. I am on a very big K-pop kick right now, so I've been listening to a lot of K-pop artists. Shouts to my roommate Alex. We've been going through.
I'm intrigued. I've honestly not listened to a lot of K-pop. I know what it is.
Oh,
and
it's fire.
I don't hate it.
I'll take it.
I don't hate it. It's funny because
So sick.
for anyone that doesn't know, I have a serious bout of the ADHD, and K-pop is just like
touch.
ooh, stimulating. Like like
Yeah.
it's
It touches all the neurons, baby. I'll tell you what.
Touch of the DHD. Yeah.
fires them off.
Yeah, so I've been on a big K-pop kick. I'll give a shout outs to New Jeans, one of my favorite EPs of this year, 100%. It's such a vibe setter. So that's why but I also listen to like what Jared says. I love like Chon is one of my favorite bands, so I listen to Chon a lot.
Super sick. I've seen them live a couple of times too.
Great
and
band to see live. I'm also
Been
getting
listening to a lot of
By Sumerian.
Manchester Orchestra lately.
Ooh. Yeah, you were playing them when I went to visit you the last time.
Yeah, they've been putting out new music steady. Like they're not as I don't know how popular they are, to be honest with you.
They're
I don't-
similar to like Coheed. Am I thinking about that right? Or no?
If Coheed was like a lo-fi, like soft rock band,
Okay, so not at all.
I mean,
I must have had it wrong.
well, like the concept is there, like the storytelling is where I attribute like the way that
I can see
Coheed
that.
and Cambria, like their albums are full stories. It's insane. I love it. The Manchester Orchestra is the same way with their music.
Oh, that's
Okay.
why I always get them confused with Mannheim Steamroller, and that's what fucks me up every time.
Mannheim Steamroller.
I'll also throw myself under the bus. I was talking to a coworker today at my job, and I keep getting American football and what was it? Fuck, I can't remember the other band's name. It's American football and modern baseball. And I get them mixed up all the time, and they're two different bands.
It's Christmas music.
Oh yeah, baby.
Man,
at least mine's like argument.
Christmas music from the '90s and the '80s.
Oh my god,
Bro, mine to this day, like on a serious note, is I stick to your guns and straight from the path. I can never get those right. I'm always like, which band sounds like this?
No. You can't be mixing them up. Come on, bro.
I'm just talking about the names. The names.
Oh,
The
okay.
names.
I was gonna
fuck
say
me up.
sound wise. I was like, they're like not close, kind of. I guess.
dude. Straight from the
Oh,
past.
oh, confession. Every time somebody says ABR, I immediately think As Blood Runs Black, as we were talking
That's
about
fair.
earlier.
Okay.
ABRB.
Yeah, like my brain finishes it, and then I'm like, wait, ABR. Oh, yeah, that's August Burns Red. Oh, yeah, yeah. I know you're talking about. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. Jesus, right? Okay, cool.
Well, are you gonna finish your before we move into the next question? Do you have you're gonna finish your top 5 of all time there, Mr. Wine Drinker?
Oh,
I'm talking about Daryl.
Deftones is definitely on the list. They got me through some good and bad times throughout my life. I owe a lot to that band.
yeehaw.
Special shout out to Ben Folds.
Ooh,
Ben Folds 5.
okay.
He was Ben Folds 5 for sure, but Ben Folds was a big introduction into the singer-songwriter world for me. Because that dude in a hall with a piano is brilliant. Like, honestly, if you're ever gonna go listen to him, listen to his live records, because
Yeah,
they're just like full of feeling.
they hit.
I feel the same way about Justin Bieber, to be honest. I'm just trying to see where Daryl and I divide, and he said something earlier where I know we divide. And before I say this, I want you to know that I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. But
Oh, Daryl's feelings or my feelings?
no, I don't. Yeah, you have no feelings, Brandon.
I
We're not
don't.
worried
You're
about
right.
you.
Exactly.
I'm
I'm happy all the time.
will literally go out if a song by this band is playing, I will get up and go out of my way to turn it, change it, turn it off if I have the power. And that band is Queen. And it's such an egregious sin. And I'll tell you why. It's not because I don't think
Next
they're
week's
good.
episode. Okay.
No, it's not because I don't think they're good. I am willing to admit when there is a pioneer in the genre that paves the way for new artists. However, I have the same problem with Queen that I do with Billy Joel and the other English pop icon,
Elton John?
Elton John. The fact that when I was growing up, it was perpetually replayed on soft rock radio, hard or like anthem rock radio, whatever
okay.
station. Was
Oh
going on.
yeah, like I can't. I understand that. If I hear Mustang Sally, I'm the fuck out. Like Mustang Sally and Brown Eyed Girl. Unfortunately,
Gone.
there's no saving them. I have grown up in a touristy beach town, and I'm ruined for that. So I totally understand because
Ruined.
like it causes me like pain to hear those songs.
It's like the Beatles.
That
you
really
know?
sucks though, like, cause man, and to be fair, like I loved with Queen, like I love all of the hits, the songs that people know, but like my favorite record is their first record. It was like a nasty trash can recording, but like really raw, cause like everybody wrote songs and
Wait,
Brian May's
they did a grindcore album? I didn't even know.
yeah, basically.
They're the
More like
pioneers of
black
grindcore.
metal. But like Brian May was like a total punk rock. Like he liked British punk music.
Did you wait? They're
And-
still together? How the fuck are they still a band?
Well, they have
Dude,
Adam
they
Lambert.
do Vegas shows. Yeah, Adam Lambert's been singing.
Oh,
for them
that's
for years.
right. The American Idol dude.
Yes. They're American Idol.
And I think he did a decent job, right? I want to say.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, he's a great vocalist.
They put
He
out like a
does the
TV
songs
special of
justice.
it. They put out like a TV special of it, and he does very well. The only thing that it's literally the greatest hits album. So like, I'm never gonna go see it.
B tracks,
But-
deep side tracks only. I don't want to hear Bohemian Rhapsody not once.
That'll never happen.
No, if
Doesn't
you
make
ever
the money.
if you ever just have this strangest of inklings to go listen to a Queen song you don't know, go listen to a song called "Dead on Time."
Dude, it's like going to an Eagles show and they don't play Hotel California. What the hell's going on?
Ugh.
Hotel.
Anyway,
California.
Daryl, so rudely
I have a
interrupted
healthy.
you.
I have a healthy appreciation for the Eagles, but it's really hard for me to get through Hotel California.
Dude.
Same problem, Beach Town.
I was gonna say, yeah, that's a bad one. Yeah.
So you can't listen to like the Beach Boys ever.
No, I can listen to the Beach Boys because nobody plays the fucking Beach Boys at the beach. It's ridiculous.
I'm the only
So
one.
yes, I can listen to the Beach Boys.
Nice. What a great band.
What a
Weird.
great barbershop quartet.
Brian Wilson was
all right.
like had a brain that nobody could touch.
So as we move into the back nine of inaugural episode of the show, I wanted to end with our favorite concert memory. And I have a few, so I'll let Daryl go first. Favorite concert memory.
Oh, I don't know, man. I gotta. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah. Oh no.
Well, I told this story recently. I think it was to you guys, but
you can tell it again.
When I was living in Texas, I was in a band called Neverbloom, and we were like a shoegazy, crazy. Like we just like made a lot of noise and kicked each other in the face. It was fun and insane, but. We were playing the Texas Revolution Fest. There's two big festivals that Come and Take It Productions puts on every year: Texas Independence Fest in the spring and Revolution Fest in the fall. And the Dillinger Escape Plan is the headliner. So we like played earlier in the day. It's like a total homie fest. So everybody's just like drinking and drinking. And I am toasted. And we get to the end of the night. I'm side stage because like I played the show, so you could go chill back there. And I fucking knew everybody, so I was taking advantage of my privilege there. But
check your privilege.
They're playing, and my favorite song is "One of Us Is a Killer." Favorite album is "Calculating Infinity," but the song "One of Us Is a Killer." I'm a sucker for a chorus, and I heard that song and I was like, I love this. And so I'm sitting there drunk. The guitar player of Neverbloom is standing next to me, and he knows that I am infatuated with that song. And he's like, you won't get up there and sing it with him. And I'm like, fuck, I won't. He's like, when the chorus comes up, you won't run up there and sing with Greg Puciato. And I was like, fuck you, yes, I will. And of course, just like baited me into the dumbest. So I run up there right in time for the chorus, and I am harmonizing with him too. Hammered, but harmonizing with him. And security is like two really big dudes that come and basically grab me by my legs to pull me away. And Greg Puciato, if you don't know what this man looks like, he looks like somebody carved him out of marble to go into like a chapel in Rome. And he's got a grip on me. He's not letting me go. We're singing together, and he is holding me, like bear hugging me around me, and holding the microphone in between us like this. And they finally let go of my legs, and we sang the chorus, and I like jumped down. He was like, I can't believe you got away with that.
Dude,
that's amazing.
That tops anything I've ever had happen to me.
Oh, it was dumb.
It was dumb.
Honestly, it's a little disrespectful to do, depending on who it is. Like when people do that to me, I'm just like, yeah, sing with me, I love that. But like, not everybody
loves that. Yeah, that's true.
I didn't.
Doesn't like that. Parker from Story of the Year. Remember he
that guy? He'll Falcon kick you off the stage. Yeah.
Get off my stage.
Get the fuck off here. I want to see you here.
Brandon, favorite concert memory?
I'll give two because I know I have definitely given this one story on the channel. Favorite experience, I got to see Underoath in their farewell tour, which obviously didn't last very long. And I'm ironically enough looking at the poster right in back of my camera. So big salutes. So I went to that show, and the tour, I know for a fact Let Live opened the show. And if you know anything about Jason Butler, my man takes he puts the big E in energy. I'll tell you what. You know, he's got the stage present, arguably one of the best stage performers to ever do it, I'd argue, you know. So, they were the opener for this farewell show. And I remember seeing the show at Union Transfer. Big salutes, one of my favorite Philly venues. That's actually where Daryl and I will be seeing Sleep Token in like a month. So sick. I'm sorry, Jared. You can buy a very expensive after, you know.
Check Spirit, man.
Yeah, come on out, brother.
I'd rather. I think it's actually, what day is that? September 1st?
No, it's the 9th.
We're gonna try to go see Loathe the day before.
Loathe?
Yeah, with Chevelle and 3 Days
I
Grace.
loathe you guys.
I'm excited about that. Like,
Chevelle
Chevelle is a good rock band.
And, you know, 3 Days Grace.
Questionable live
okay.
performances, though, from what I've heard. Everyone that's seen them.
Really?
some
Well,
reason.
we're gonna have to. We'll find out.
I hope I'm wrong, because they were one of my favorite bands when I was a teenager.
I love seeing Loathe though, so
that's why every song I write is in 6/4. I heard fucking Vitamin R one time, and it's like every song I write after that sounds just like Vitamin R. It's fucked.
Anyway, so I'll tell my story about Let
Think
Live.
about it. If you come, like, that takes care of at least 2 episodes of things to talk about.
Dude, it's gonna be 2 episodes regardless from you guys talking about who got to get closer to Vessel's dick. I'm so pumped for it though.
Oh, it'll be me.
I will not be me. I can. I am trying to worship that. So anyway, so I saw Let Live. I've seen them before, but I feel like they wanted to put on a little bit extra, considering that, you know, at the current time, you know, back in 2013, you know, we didn't know if Under Oath was getting back together again, if this was going to be the end of the band. So I remember Jason literally picking up the bass cab and hucking it out into the crowd. And he's like, he looks over at Lionel, and he's like, all right, when this man hits this cymbal, I need y'all to go ape shit. And he like hits the hi-hat, and I see him run off the stage, jump onto the bass cab, and he's surfing this bass cab as he's singing like Banshee out in the crowd. It was probably like the most epic thing ever. He's like sliding across the stage. I'm pretty sure at one point he just like, I don't even remember. Like I feel like there was a moment that he did something really cool and I just completely blacked out because like my brain was like going into full like overload at his stage presence. Still arguably one of the most memorable shows I've been to. Obviously I got to see Under Oath, which is great.
That is a good.
But he was nuts.
That's a good story, man.
He's nuts. He was nuts. And like it was such a cool thing because I'm pretty sure I was like still really fresh in the scene, and to see that band just like absolutely changed my life. Because I saw them at like Warped Tour like later that year, and it was just, man, what the dude was nuts. He still is nuts. Like, and if you haven't seen Jason Butler, man, what an underrated vocalist and like performer. That dude really knows what's up. So I would say that's one that I have mentioned on the show, but like one of my favorite memories. And then another one was I saw shout outs if you live in New Jersey, there was a spot called Hangar 84, and this was maybe a year or two prior to the Under Oath show that I just mentioned. But I saw it was We Came as Romans headlining, Sleeping with Sirens, Emmure, and For All I Am, I'm pretty sure was like the opener for this tour. And I remember seeing them in just like this hole in the wall like venue, and I'm pretty sure at the time We Came as Romans had just released Understanding What I've Grown to Be, which was their second album. Sleeping with Sirens either was in between with Ears to See, Eyes to Hear, or they were on to the next Let's Cheers to This. I'm pretty sure they were on the second album. And then Emmure, I don't know what fucking heavy ass album they had, because I wasn't a fan of Emmure at the current time. So I I just remember people just crowd killing the fuck out of kids in that pit. But I remember like making all of the homies that I went with at the show. We all moved up to the front because we were like, oh, We Came as Romans, gotta do it. And I just remember just a mass amount of people like crowd surfing. And obviously, as you can tell, if you're not watching this video, I wear glasses. And I just remember getting fucking kicked in the back of the head the entire night, like as people were crowd surfing for like We Came as Romans. I remember losing my glasses. I remember like pitting super hard. It was just a crazy experience to the point where one of my friends got kicked out and we all had to leave because they basically kicked us all out. So I got to see like I saw most of We Came as Romans, but they were great with Kyle. Rest in peace, Kyle. Love that dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was such a great experience. I was sweaty, bloody, all that stuff. It was fun. So that's another one that I haven't mentioned, but I feel like I wanted to mention here.
How do you feel about Amir now?
I'm indifferent. I don't think they're like bad or good. I just don't.
Let's ask Frankie how he feels about Amir, because he came out recently and was like, "Fuck all of my music until this last album I did." Yeah.
I don't think they're bad.
I love Josh Travis. Like everything
I do
he touches,
love Josh.
he's hand of Midas for sure. And
Glass Cloud. Tony Tap Danza Extravaganza.
Dude.
Yeah.
But like him, like Josh Miller is not their drummer anymore, so I'm wondering how it's gonna go now. Because I liked the chemistry. Because I saw the three. It was just the three of them.
Yes.
And they backtracked second guitar, bass, and all the ambience and leads. And
yeah, because I'm pretty sure Josh plays guitar as well. Josh Miller.
Yeah,
not Josh Travis.
He does. Well, he's got Darko.
Darko, yeah.
He's doing another project.
He's doing a new project. Yeah.
I think he's playing in Spite now too.
No, he's out of Spite now. He left Spite.
Okay.
Yeah.
Work. Well, yeah, but it was insane seeing them live because the three of them literally like made a pre-workout, like a big ass pre-workout in a glass of water, cheersed each other, chugged it, and just like we're like, "Ah, ah, ah," like in the back screaming at each other, and I was just like, oh my god, this is some fucking energy. And they got up there and sweat their asses off, but shredded. Like, you say what you want about Frankie Palmieri, I mean the dude honestly is kind of an asshole, but he puts on a fucking show. He can sell a fucking band, that's for sure.
I agree.
Dude.
I agree. Yeah.
Have you guys seen? So this just came out today, but you know how I don't know if you guys have really followed it, but every 2 years, ABR has been doing their 10-year anniversary tour.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And the lineup
Restore,
for
baby.
this one,
Ooh,
it is like by the time
spicy.
ABR comes on stage, I may have already been in a coma from being kicked in the head. In case you haven't seen this yet, it is Crystal Lake is opening, the first opener. Then you go into Spite.
Get to see him with
Then
John.
Co-headlining is Brand of Sacrifice before August Burns Red closes the show, and I die of a heart attack. So that's
It's
a
a great
crazy
lineup.
fucking one. But it's a perfect segue into my favorite show memory ever. I mean, there's a couple, and I won't go into detail on every one of them because I have so many. But I think a really special concert moment for me. I was one of the first. I've seen Dayseeker the most out of any band I've ever gone to see live. I've seen them probably between 10 and 12 times live,
Nice.
spanning all the way back to when they played at a tiny little church in Chino, California. And the guitarist Gino couldn't find the freaking venue, so Rory played guitar on all the songs, and it was just me and like 8 other people. And then every show after that, for the first couple of years, Rory would hand me the mic when I would sing off key a couple parts.
Sorry.
Yeah, but then second, I think top two, A Day to Remember put on Self Help Fest, and it was a giant outdoor venue. I missed, just because of the time that I grew up in, I missed going to Warped Tour. I never went to any of them until the last one. I just lived like a little bit too far away and never
Wow.
really had anyone to drive me, so I missed all of them in like the golden years of Warped Tour.
Damn.
So that was my Warped Tour. That was like the first ever Self Help Fest with like Let Live, Story So Far, Bring Me the Horizon,
Great
and
lineup.
like all these. Dude, so Jeremy gets in, like, Jeremy's on stage. He goes off the stage. He comes back, and it's like we can still hear him. We're like, where the fuck is Jeremy at? He rolls out into the crowd in a giant inflatable beach ball, and like everyone's like, and he's still singing in this
Like a
in this
hamster.
fucking-
Yeah.
dude, and his hamster ball. And I'm too far away because like the mosh pit is very far away from where the front of the stage was.
Guys sinking in
But
the
yeah,
hole.
dude, he's out there. It was much better than the next year when they played. When they they played like a 35-minute set as the headliner. When the year before they played like over an hour, and then after their 35-minute set, everybody was like encore for 15 minutes, to the point where we were like, "Are they not doing an encore?" And then Jeremy gets back out there, grabs the mic, and goes, "Sorry guys, we all had to go take a massive shit." And then he just fucking starts. He's like, "Anyway, here is the plot to bomb the Panhandle." So anyway.
Well, he did drop a bomb.
Fucking Brandon with the poop jokes. But my favorite top tier memory from a show of all time has nothing to do with what a band did and everything to do with my best friend Damien.
Oh
did
yeah,
at
you
a show.
said
I've told this story to Brandon before. So the first ever show he and I got to see together was 10 years ago. It was August Burns Red with Bless the Fall and Beartooth, before Beartooth was even Beartooth.
Wow, what a great lineup.
They only had their EP out at the time. So I go, it's at Nokia Live, and obviously the pit's going crazy for Bless the Fall. Damien doesn't really know Bless the Fall. He's just kind of like Hollow Bodies had just come out, and he's just like, okay, I know Jake was on this album, so I'm kind of into it.
Kind of sick.
Anyway, there's this guy with a cup like this, but it's full of alcohol, and in the middle of the mosh pit, this guy insists on doing like the robot, but like walking in walking. Like he's just like chilling, walking. Daryl, in case you don't know, Damien is 6'6", and also loves to be in mosh pits. So it's at the end of a Bless the Fall song. It's still, the video online to this day is still up. This guy is doing the robot in the middle of the mosh pit right as the breakdown drops, and it was one of the heaviest breakdowns of the night. So the lights are going crazy. Everything is in a strobe effect. So I'm seeing things like literally like only like, a couple frames a second because of the strobe.
Trippy.
And this guy is walking through the crowd with his stupid little beer cup doing his little thing. I am standing here. Damien is about right over by where this rug is. And all I see is this poor guy doing the robot, Damien go back like this with his arm, come up with his left arm, and absolutely clothesline this guy. His beer flies. He's knocked out on the ground. A bunch of people run over to him, and they're like, "Hey, man, are you all right?" And then, like in the chaos, Damien falls down, and I'm witnessing all this happen from the side. And I had and in the middle of all this stuff, some dude crowd surfs on my head, and like I get hit in the eye. But anyway, they picked up Damien, and then in the end of the video, you see me. I had no idea how to slam dance or how to mosh, so you see me come in at the very end of the song, like putting my arm out like this and just like looking like I'm jerking some guy off. And it's still in the video online, dude. I rewatch the video several times a year, and it's one
It's
of my
great.
favorite memories of all time.
That's a good
I
one.
did a lot of hardcore dancing. That's why
The
I have
first
bad
time I ever
knees.
tried was to Volumes. There's a video of me trying to do a hardcore dance to Volumes at a what that was called "Scream It Like You Mean It" in 2012.
Oh,
And
nice.
when you rewatch it, Damien's like, "It looks like you're trying to ward off a swarm of bees." Because I'm like in the pit, just like doing this. Like, that's the most fucked up thing ever. And I wasn't even drunk, so it's even worse. I was just this awkward 18-year-old kid who didn't know how to mosh.
We are all at that point in our lives, I'm sure.
I'm past that point. Now I just stand there with my stupid my jean jacket and my boots, and I just like moderate the pit.
This is
Everywhere I go now, people think I'm an employee. It's fucked. Like I go to metal shows, they're like, "Is it okay if we have our drinks on this side of the fence?"
You kind of do look like a security guard. I'm not gonna lie.
Dude, I was at a bar in town a couple of months ago, and there was a fight that broke out between a woman and I guess some guy that was there. I don't know if they were dating or not, but this guy walks up to me as he's stumbling out of the bar, like, "You weren't gonna do anything about this?" And then he like asks me, and I'm like, "Dude, I'm just another drunk guy at this bar too. Like, what are you talking about?" And it happened multiple times. People were walking up to
Oh
me
my God.
because I was just standing by the door doing like the dude pose.
You missed out your calling, I think. You know?
Dude, I'm glad. If my calling was being a security guard, I've overachieved, and I will take that every day of the week.
There you go. Well, look, you
Yeah,
learn something
there
new
you
every
go.
day, Jared.
Well, guys, I think that is a fantastic point to wrap our inaugural episode. We do have coming up next week or the next episode, we will have
Next
a
week.
surprise guest. We will have a surprise guest. So stay tuned for that, guys. As always,
wonder who
tune
it
in
is.
for your favorite.
That's why it's a
place.
surprise.
I don't know who it is actually.
Yeah, we will be doing guests, if not every episode, frequently.
We'll try.
As frequently as we can.
Just have them jump in with us for a few minutes and talk about stuff, and
Yeah.
we'll see where it goes. You know.
We should probably talk about
Hopefully,
a little
this
bit.
has been a very enjoyable hour for you guys to listen
been
to us talk
great.
about music, shit talk, and start to hit our rhythm. I think next time I do this, I might drink just so I can loosen my nerves a little bit. This is despite popular belief and a lifetime of my behavior prior to this. This was just iced tea. This
I'm
was not
proud of
anything
you,
about
Jared. You did great. As
Daryl's
the
like,
only-
not me. Red wine and booze, baby.
It's been a day. Okay.
It's been a hell of a day. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go listen to Rescue and Restore so I can get myself pumped up for the 10-year album, and I will catch you, fine gentlemen, in the next one. Bye, everybody.